Hey, I'm going to share something with you that they don't share with you in the brochure when you start your plumbing business. All right, hey, good morning. Welcome to the morning workout. It's good to have you here this morning. All right, hope you got your workout in. I'm just leaving from mine. It was a good arm day, feeling pumped. All right, on this, it's a rainy morning here in normally sunny South Florida. Got a little rain here today, but a little rain never hurt anything. Always need a little bit of rain. Here we go. Hey, something they don't tell you when you start your plumbing business. You know, I joke about it, you know, in the academy and in the school community. By the way, hey, if you're looking, you know, if you're just starting your plumbing business, or okay, looking to start a plumbing business, or you know, you're a couple years in or a few years in, and it just seems like it's one step up, two steps back still, can't get where you want to go. Hey, join it's a free school community. All right, milliondollarplumber.com/school as an SKOOL. There we go. Hey, yeah, one of the things they don't tell you when you start your plumbing business, and I was going to say that, you know, I joke about it, you know, in my universe, that they don't share this, you know, I don't share this with you even, you know, in my brochure about starting your plumbing business. And it's this: your championship rounds are up front, or right out the bat. Championship rounds. And what do I mean by that is that, you know, in a boxing match, you know, prize fight, you know, and it could be like a, you know, 12 round, you know, back in the days, you know, I'm old school, so it's back, you know, with Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier, you know, man, those were the days. That's when men were men. Anyways, it was, you know, they'd have this prize fight, you know, and it'd be the last, you know, 3 or 4 rounds that they called the championship rounds. And the reason they were called the championship rounds is because, you know, up until that time, you know, you're you know, things are going on, but by the time you get to the end of the fight, the last 3 or 4 rounds, you know, your body's hurt. You know, your legs are going, you're bleeding. All right, you know, you're out of breath. All right, and it just comes down to who wants it more. It's that simple. At that level, you know, it's just who wants it more, and it's a slugfest. And the same thing goes with your plumbing business. Okay. You know, we've seen it. I've seen it now hundreds of times, hundreds, if not, we're into the thousands now. And just, you know, we're a good plumber working for the plumbing shop, and you know, we get the idea. We've all been there. Instead of making money for that guy, well, I can make this money myself. You know, I'll just, you know, I got customers love me, and I can get customers, and I'll just have my own plumbing business. And we get into it, and we crash, because first of all, we learned that, you know, we're great at plumbing. We've been taught how to be great plumbers, great craftsmen, but we're not taught how to, you know, with business. But even if you know business, just getting into it, the championship rounds are up front, and the meaning is the same kind of a thing in the prize fight, where, you know, those last 3 or 4 rounds where you're bleeding and you're tired, you can't breathe, your legs are gone, you know, you just don't have the strength. Okay, with your plumbing business, all that's on the front side. Okay, you're starting with something where you don't even have legs. You're not strong. All right, you don't have the knowledge and the ability and the know-how. All right, you're bleeding cash. All right, your body's writing checks. You're writing checks your body can't cash, and you're doing all that up front. All right, you're bleeding cash, you're tired. You know, just even, you know, in our community yesterday, we had a, you know, group coaching, which is part of the academy, and you know, even one of was a newer member, you know, is you know, 3 months in, and just was expressing, you know, just thinking about quitting. And it was great to see. First of all, we all get that, and the reason to think about quitting, it's just this. I mean, you're getting the hell beat out of you. I mean, you just don't walk in and things just take off. Okay, and so it basically was just getting mentally was wore out. And so it was fun to see the group, everyone rally behind him, and the guys that have been through it. And, you know, we've all been through that and feel it, and just spurring them on. But the bottom line there is it's very much like a prize fight or a cage fight. You know, you have your manager your coach, okay, and supporters are saying, you got this. Your coach is saying, look out for the right, look out for the left hook, don't drop your shoulders, and your hands and those kinds of things, and you got this. Keep at it. Work our system, work the system, work the plan. Keep at it. But it's still you in the ring, alone, fighting. Okay, so it has to be something inside of you that you gotta want it. You gotta want it more. Okay, because you make it through those championship rounds, it just takes off. I've seen everybody that will continue to push through the championship rounds builds a multi-truck, multi-million-dollar plumbing business. It really is that simple, but not easy, because you have to decide, I'm going to survive the championship rounds. But if you push through, you will survive. And the way to push through is, it has to be more than plumbing. Okay, plumbing's not enough to say, well, I have my own plumbing business. Okay, you've got to know your why. Why am I doing this? And since I'm using the boxing analogy, in the Rocky movies, in fact, it's in the very first Rocky movie, if you can recall this. In the very first Rocky movie, he's just a guy off the street, and he has this shot to fight the champion. And it's the night before, and everything hits him. The heaviness of it hits him. And he goes that night to the arena, and he's there in the ring, and he's walking around. He looks at he sees his poster, of him there, and he looks at there's the champ, Apollo Creed, and it's this big arena, and it just the weight of everything hits him like, what? It's bigger than he is. And that's the same thing with your plumbing business. The plumbing, it's bigger than you, it's bigger than plumbing. And so he goes back to to his dumpy apartment, he's broke, all that kind of stuff, and climbs in his rotten mattress bed with Adrian, and it's just he has that, he's almost in the fetal position, but he tells Adrian, and I can't do the Rockies, if I can just be standing when the final bell rings, I'll know for the first time in my life that I'm not just another bum from the neighborhood. And that was his why. That was that's what drove him through this fight. So when he was in the championship rounds there at the end, it was bloody and bleeding, and his legs are gone, and it's just, I can barely hold his arms up. It was that why. If I can be standing when the final bell rings, I'll know for the first time in my life that I'm not just another bum from the neighborhood. That was the power, okay? And you've got to have the same thing with your plumbing business and in your life to be able to make it through the championship rounds with your plumbing business. If you don't have that, if you don't know what that is, if you don't know why your why is, why you're doing this, okay? Why am I in this fight? Why am I putting up with this crap? Why am I figuring out these new things? Why am I doing this plumbing, on my own here? If you don't know why that is, you will not succeed. But if you do know why, you're fighting, if you do know your why, all right. And again, it's not plumbing. I want to provide the best plumbing. I want to have the best plumbing team. I want to make a lot of money. That doesn't work. Okay, it has to be. I want this for my family. I want this, even if it's I want this exact kind of car. I want this kind of freedom. For me, that was my thing. I wanted to be able to come and go. I wanted control of my life. That doesn't mean there aren't problems with business and all that. Okay, we get it, but that's what drove me to make it through my championship rounds. And we talk about it in the academy about having what we call working in your daily GPS. I do that to this day. First thing we do in the morning is writing down, and it's not goals. Okay, it's you're creating your life. And so for years, even when I was in the truck, it was, I have a nice home on the water in Florida, okay? And I wrote, there's a little bit more detail to that, but basically that's what it is. Today, and it have been, we're here, okay? But that's what drove me when I'm dealing with you know, there's just no money, and I'm dealing with customer issues, and guys not showing up to work, and you know, everything that's involved with it, figuring out the marketing every time that's changed. It's what drove me, you know, the big time, you know, through the 2008, 2009, 10 recession, when all other businesses were going out of business. I didn't go out of business. Okay, it was hell, but I fought through that hell because I knew why I was fighting, and it's kind of, I'm living more than my wildest dreams. And now I've seen literally hundreds of my clients do the same, and the ones that do are the ones that have a why. It's not how good of a plumbers they are, and the customers love them and all that bullshit. Okay, well, it's not bullshit, but that's not what we focus on. It was their ability of knowing what kind of life they wanted, what was their why. So there we go. I mean, to be able to make it through your championship rounds, you got to know why you're fighting. Okay, you know, don't want to be just another bum in the neighborhood. You know, that's a powerful thing. Just having my own plumbing business and making my own money, that's not powerful. Okay, so all right, there we go. Know your why. All right, you can do it. You can make it through your championship rounds if you know your why. All right, and again, hey, if you want help with that, hey, it's important to be around others who will cheer you on. Okay, so if you're not already, all right, join my school community. Okay, it's free. All right, so it's no, all right, there's no excuse, but it's good to be around others who are going to cheer you on. You can get support. Okay, that's milliondollarplumber.com/school, SKOOL. All right, there you go. All right, get out there, be dangerous today, man. Plumb like a champion.